Hi guys, my name's Maurice. I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about the questions you should be asking when you've got that interview to land a life science job. Now, you've probably heard many different questions about how and what to ask when you're heading into an interview. And over the years that we've been working in this industry, we've found that these help. It helps to gain insight. It helps you to understand a little bit more about the job. And of course, it's very important to ask questions as it demonstrates interest and at the same time shows that it's not just a one-sided conversation between you and the person interviewing you. So without further ado, let's jump right into some of those questions. The first one that I really like to go for is, what do you enjoy about working here? I mean, you'll realize if there's any hesitation almost immediately, and I think that this helps you to really gain an insight into how it is to work there. If somebody mentions benefits right away, that's usually not a good sign. However, if somebody talks about the colleagues, that usually is a good sign. If somebody talks about the way management works and how that's a positive, these are all positive signs. Another thing to look out for is, of course, what the horizon looks like for you at that company. Perhaps a person who's been given more responsibility will share a little bit of information about the fact that they've been promoted or given more responsibility. It gives you a good insight into exactly what you might expect when you start to work there. Up next, we got, why is this position actually open? Now, people forget to ask this question all the time, and it's pretty important. Now, if it's a new role, it obviously signifies that the company is growing, and that's a big benefit. If it's a replacement, usually you want to get into asking, why is this position being replaced? Was somebody let go? Did somebody leave? And if you feel comfortable, you might want to ask a little bit further about why that person chose to leave the company, or to understand how you might best succeed in the role. You might want to understand, if somebody was let go, why was that for? All right, up next is the question, can you tell me a little bit about the team I would join if I was hired? Now, this is going to give you insight into the peers that you're going to work with, because most companies don't do peer interviews. They might do meet and greets, but this allows you to kind of get a sense of how the team is structured, who the peers are. I mean, you might want to get into demographics, how old, how young, and you may want to talk about where they're based, because it could be a remote virtual team, it could be a team you sit with every day. If it's remote, you'd probably want to understand how often you're going to have to, or how often you'll have the pleasure of meeting them, and all of these things will let you, have a better start on day one and know what to expect. All right, the next question is, what is going to be the greatest challenge for me should I be hired into this role? Now, this is a good one because in many cases you're hired for a specific task. It can be something like maintenance, you're just maintaining something, but in many cases it can be a turnaround, it can be a launch, there can be many reasons why. And this question allows you to understand really what your job is going to be consisting of. We do have job descriptions, but as I've learned over the years, in many cases, they don't actually actively reflect what it is you're going to be doing. Understanding the challenges that lie ahead for you and the company gives you a better sense if this job is going to be something that suits you or not. All right, fifth question. It's a good one because it gives you a sense of what the hiring manager actually thinks of you. And that question is there any skill or competency that you think I lack for this role? Nobody is perfect for a job. If they're perfect for a job, they usually want the next job. And everybody has a gap. It's something that we look for when we hire for our clients. We want people to have gaps because that allows them to stretch and grow into a new position. Having a hiring manager assess you in the interview will give you an understanding about how well they've actually understood what you've said to them, and it also gives you an insight into how you're viewed in an interview. This question, I think, is a pretty powerful one and may ultimately help you understand, if you don't get a job, why that might have been. Up next, and I wanted to include one which is more specific to life science, and I think this is a good one. What is your patient strategy, or how do you stay close to patients? I think this helps you understand what drives people in an organization. A company that has a really, really defined patient strategy, who are close to their patients, who listen to feedback from their patients, usually have people who are very passionate about the work that they do. We found that companies that aren't really close to patients or don't necessarily have that relationship are the ones which are maybe more revenue driven, and you tend to have people perhaps who are less passionate in those companies. And this is why I think it's good to understand how a company is relating to the people that they're trying to serve. And many people join this industry because they want to help people, and you want to understand how close your company is to the people it wants to help. If you want to keep in touch with us, be sure to follow us on LinkedIn. Thanks very much, guys. Bye-bye.